Hi, my name is Dario Vasquez. I am software developer at Aktiun, and today I go to show you how to use ChartFactor Studio to create a data application using the Elasticsearch provider and the Google Analytics data sample. This data is about the Google Merchandise Store that you can access through www.googlemerchandisestore.com. This will be the final data application. We go to have markup widgets. We go to have filter controls to apply filters. We go to have time range filters to create a time window. Okay. We go to have trends like this one. Pivot table. We go to have KPIs and tree maps, packet bubbles, bar chart, heat maps. We go to have drive fields to present in a better way the information to the user. We go to have drill links. When we apply a filter, we go to define a drill path, etc. Now let's create a new data application and add a markup widget. In the markup widget, you can copy and paste information. Let's copy what the Wikipedia say about Google Analytics. Copy, paste. You will see that the links remains, and you can continue editing the formatting of the text. You can even copy and paste images. After you finish edit the markup widget, you can lock it to don't allow future editing on it. Now let's add a Kpi widget. For that, we go to select the Elasticsearch provider and we go to get the Google Analytics sections for August of 2016. Here we can say that we go to create a Kpi widget, and we can just ignore the second text because we don't go to use it, and we can say that we don't need the label, and we go to use count to see the number of visits from August of 2016. Okay, can put here. Now let's put a title to the Kpi widget. We go to call it total visits, and now let's add another KPI. Same process, and let's use now total new visits. Now let's set the color to the KPI. For example, let's define a color here, and let's set this color to the chart. Okay, same for the other. Now let's add a filter control. and a time range filter. Okay. We go to use count symmetric, and instead of year we go to use day. If in this case your widget is cropped, you can adjust the visualization grid here. For example, let's use in left 60 and in right 60. We can see we can have a little bit more, 80. And now we have the filter control and the time range filter. With the time frame filter we can create time windows. For example, let's create a time window of a day, or for example a time window of 10 days, and let's move this time window, for example, to see. Let's see how to use the wildcard to access to the total data that we have indexed in this Elastic instance. We have one index by month, but we can just, for example, let's here in the source put a wildcard on the month, and we go to have all the month of 2016, and the same if we put it on the year, we go to have all the information that we have indexes for all the years. We can change the function if we want less resolution on the time range filter. We can say instead of day we can say month, okay, or year, but in this case are only 2 years. Okay, let's say day. Okay, and now we have the full time range filter. Okay, now if we put the time range filter outside the range of the other visual, they go to say 0. That's why we have to edit here too and put the wildcard here and here. We can add another markup widget to have space delimitations. For example, let's edit this and set his audience. Let's put this like a header and bold and dark gray, and let's lock it and put it the background color, this one, and now we have space delimitation here. We can add another for behavior. Let's see here, and the same process. We edit behavior, put a header, let's put the color, let's put it bold, lock, and then we put the color and save. Okay, now let's remove the filters. Now let's add a trend to see the behavior of the visits through the time. Okay, we go to use all the data available. We go to have only one group, that go to be the time. We go to use months as granularity. we use count because we want the number of visits. We have visits. Let's add a KPI for time on site. Now let's see how we can calculate the bounce rate. We see in the metadata we have totals, bounces, and total visits. And with that two values we can calculate the bounce rate. For that, let's go to the load metadata, let's select the provider, and let's specify a custom metadata. Okay. For that we have to set the object meta, and we have to put the name of the data source. We can use wildcard to apply to a set of data sets, and then we can put fields to define new derived fields or override some fields with new labels or change the type. In this case we are defining the bounce rate, okay, and we are pointing to this object who define a name. Bounce rate to have to be as the same as the key of the fields. We define a label, a type, in this case number, and dependencies that are values that they go to take for the original data source, in this case total visits and total bounces. And the function to calculate these derived fields is visit and bounces. They go to take these two values, go to divide them and multiply it by 100. We save this, and then we can add a new KPI. We go to use the new derived field, bounce rate. And we can copy the color definition from here. Now let's take a look at another derived field. In this tree map, we go to see that we have visits of mobile versus desktop, and here we can see is mobile false. That means that this area is about desktop clients, and is mobile true is about mobile clients. But this is not ideal. We prefer have something like platform desktop and platform mobile, for a better understanding. For that kind of things we have to use a derived fields that act like an alias, and we can go to load metadata, elastic, and we go to define a derived field like this. For example, we can put name, whatever you choose, the label, platform, for example, the type go to be attribute, and the dependency go to be device is mobile. And then we go to define a function that take as a parameter that device is mobile, the original, and then we define a map to convert this original value, in this case true for example, to mobile and false to desktop, and we return the result of this map. We have to take this name and be sure that in the key here is the same as the name and reference to the derived field. Then we can save this and we can now use the derived field in our chart. And now we can see platform desktop and platform mobile. Now let's take a look what happened if I apply a filter to a country, for example United States. In this case the widget only shows United States, and this is not ideal. We prefer to show, for example, the regions that belongs to United States, and for that we need a drill-in. The drill-ins are defined on the filter control. We go to the filter control and edit here, and then we can say that we go to get the ID of the visualization, call it user region, okay, and then we go to define some drill hierarchies for this. In this case, for user region, we go to say that the group 1 go to be in the beginning GeoNetwork country, and after I apply a filter, then go to convert it to GeoNetwork region. Okay, let's enable these drill-ins, and now when we apply a filter to the user country, we will see that they go to be drilling into the regions. Okay. In future videos we go to see how to do the rest of the widget of this data application. For example, the map that has support for drillings. For example, let's remove the filters, and then we can see that we are in the world view, and if we click on in a country, we go to drilling into regions. Okay. This kind of data application is very useful because with a simple view you can see some kind of behavioral of your users. For example, for all the application, for all the users of the application, we can see that the Windows users are the most, even bigger than the Macintosh users, and the Chrome is the first browser in the user preferences, followed by the Safari, and they visit this website mostly from desktop than from mobile. Okay, but what happens if we click on United States? In United States, for example, is different. More of the users of this online store are Macintosh users, and then followed by Windows users, and the same for desktop. It's more desktop than mobile. And if we go to another country, in Australia for example, there are more Windows users than Macintosh users. By the way, we update the data application, the default data application. Now it's easier to create a new data application and import the default sample application. With a couple of clicks you have a functional data application that you can play with. Thank you for watching this video. For more information, contact us at chartfactor.com.